Welcome back again, everybody. This is Don Horatio. In my last cast, I brought you a game with LiquidNonY, the Protoss player from Liquid, against a Zerg from Team Root. I'm doing it again, but this time the Zerg player is different. It is ROOTDestiny, not Vibe like it was in the last game. But I look forward to seeing some more PvC action from Liquid's own Protoss player, NonY. So without further ado, let's get going. In the bottom left of the map Cloud Kingdom, we have the aforementioned Liquid Protoss spawning in the blue. LiquidNonY, and in the top right, the also aforementioned Zerg player from the team Root, the controversial Destiny. Destiny, despite all the shenanigans, can put together some pretty good games as well. He's certainly not someone to scoff at in any sort of scenario, and can always take some games with some interesting strategies. And as we saw in the last game, NonY is also able to cook up a few odd strategies of his own with that strange little 2-gate expand play into Stargate, into Colossi, everything, defend the third base build, which is very interesting. And it looks like we'll see something very similar from NonY. I guess he's been working on this build. And once again, we see the pylon above that natural ramp. By natural ramp, I mean ramp to the natural from the main, and not the ramp to the natural. Which on this map, there is no ramp to the natural, really, so I'm immediately vindicated. But we'll likely see that same play from NonY then. That pylon there, followed by a gateway, gas, cybernetics core, second gas, and we'll have to see how he does. Destiny, on the other hand, continues to drone happily up to that 14-15 mark, and we'll likely see him throw down a spawning pool sometime very soon, unless he opts for some sort of hatch first play, which in this scenario would actually be pretty good. Normally, you want to not go hatch first against Protoss for fear of cannon rushing, but you don't know until you scout if they can do that, and Destiny has to play it safe and puts down that hatch on 15. We'll likely see that followed immediately by an expansion. Looks like this drone is patrolling that ramp down to the bottom, waiting to put down that hatchery. Wants to make his life somewhat worth it. Taking a quick break there. That gas that I mentioned earlier is now done for NonY. And he'll likely put up that cybernetics core as soon as he can. There indeed it goes, leaving that one little hex gap for that Zealot to block whenever he makes it. There's the rally, there's the Zealot. I've seen this build before, and actually I'm intrigued to see if his build has some branches, based on what he scouts, if he does scout. Because last time he made a second gateway, and then a Nexus, and then a Stargate. So I'm very interested to see what he decides to do with this build, and if it has some quirks to it. There's that second gas, so we're still seeing the same thing from NonY. It's a very interesting build. I might actually look into practicing this if I ever decide to actually play StarCraft again. Ladder anxiety has got me down. All I do is practice builds. Poorly. That hatch that I mentioned at the natural is on its way for Destiny, about halfway done, and he does now scout the natural and see nothing there. So I'm very curious to see. He does bring this drone back, just checking for probably proxy pylons and stuff at that third base, or maybe he intended to try and take it, but now he's got to see how he wants to adapt. There's the gas, much like we saw Vibe do in the reaction to this lack of Nexus at the bottom of the ramp. And we'll have to see if he just gets that gas for the Zergling speed like Vibe did and then get out, or decide to go into some sort of other form of tech. Here's that very similar building placement. NonY is just cranking this build out, and there's that gateway again. We'll likely see the Nexus following this pylon. I really do like this build. I'm curious to see how a Korean player would react to it, as opposed to these North American Zerg players. But I guess I will withhold my judgment until I see the outcome of Destiny's reaction, to see if he could do better than Vibe, who did indeed follow this build last game against NonY. But this does very much fit with NonY's overall playstyle as he puts down that Nexus, where he wants to play it safe. He is a very macro-oriented player. You will not see him going for a bunch of crazy timings. His builds are all designed around making yourself as safe as possible while making yourself as economic as possible and giving you that edge you need in the late game to take those long macro games towards the tail end of the match. And Destiny's reaction is very similar to Vibe's with that gas. He's actually still mining gas, so that is the one tweak in it, but that third hatch is coming out at a roughly similar time. And I'm curious to see what he decides to do with this gas that he is mining. Once again, the heavy sentry composition, trying to be as safe as he can, once again fitting in with the NonY philosophy. Certainly something he wants to do. And the Stargate is once again part of the wall. This is just a very, very specific build that NonY has put together here. I'm gonna keep preaching that until he like makes some sort of weird change that I don't expect. And that Stargate is now finishing. We'll have to see if he goes for that Void Ray first, like he did last game. And with the gas he stockpiled, I would have to imagine that is exactly what he'll do. And there it is indeed. And he chrono boosting that out to get that out there as quickly as possible. And here comes that same little zealot sentry pressure, trying to convince Destiny of things other than Stargate, but that won't work with his Overlord here, so he knows that Stargate's coming. The Lair's on the way as well. And some Zerglings on the way to try and defend this. This is a very similar situation we saw last time. But no random drones out in the middle of the map this time like Vibe had, so NonY got those 4 free drone kills. And I think NonY has realized that he can't really do a whole lot here, and he does back off. And he saves the sentries unlike last game. But these Zerglings are giving chase for Destiny, and we'll have to see if they can catch up in here and do something with these units. But good little foresight here from NonY, dropping these 3 Zealots back to defend and take out some of these Zerglings. They will get taken out, but they do keep the sentries safe, and they're able to fall back to their friends. The Void Ray is now out. We'll have to see what damage it can do. There are no Evo Chambers out yet for Destiny. They're on their way, but he cannot make any spores as of yet, making 8 Queen, but only 2 out on the map currently. So this Void Ray Phoenix composition could once again look to do some damage for our Liquid Protoss player. Destiny kind of just creeping out here with some Lings, looking to maybe deny that 3rd base if NonY tries to make that. And now the spores are on their way, but we'll have to see what NonY's able to do before those spores go down. A bunch of spores going down, a pretty big reaction here. Going for the spores instead of queens. He's still only making that 1 queen, relying entirely on spores to defend. And a couple queens do move in to try and do some damage. Takes out a couple of drones and will get out. Once again, NonY playing it safe, getting that little bit of damage in, and making sure that threat is known. And that is 4 drones that became spore callers there. So that's a good investment for him, and 5 workers killed. Nice to look to start clearing out some Overlords across the map as well. Their unit's very good for that, and it's always good to get those Overlords out, deny that map vision, deny that scouting, and just basically give yourself free reign on the map. This group of Zerglings still chilling out, just being a bunch of bros down at the bottom. Not doing a whole lot. If you're going to have that amount of Zerglings, you kind of want to try and be active with them. So I do have a bit of an issue with Destiny being there. But he will try to engage this force. Let's see some force fields here. And he force fields them in, and the Zealots will make quick work of them. Not a sentry going down, not a sentry even dropping below shield energy. Great job by NonY. And he is looking to secure a big advantage in this game. We do have Mutalisks, which are a much different response than we saw from the previous root player Vibe. Vibe just went straight for roaches and tried to attack. But Destiny is saying no to that, getting a bunch of mutas out, and we'll have to see how the mutas fare against the Void Ray Phoenix composition in the air, and if they can get something done. He is also making that Roach Warren, so he's not making some sort of really long-term commitment to these Mutalisks. He can go back and forth as he wants, and go back and forth between that tech. More damage being dealt to Overlords. Destiny does have a couple of surplus Overlords, so he will be fine, even making more. Here comes the Phoenix, the Mutalisks. The Phoenix should make fairly short work of them if microed properly, which is the issue with going for these Mutalisks. Mutalisks are very good against Void Rays, but against the Phoenix are extra damage versus light. Phoenix have longer range and can be microed and have the same speed against Mutalisks. And it's tough out for Mutalisks against Phoenix, unless you catch them very, very off guard. So immediately he's not making any more Mutalisks. He knows he's not going to be able to do a whole lot with that. Just kind of wants to put the fear of the Muta into the heart of NonY, who's making his 3rd Nexus as we speak. But he is getting that Infestor energy upgrade, and the Roach speed is Destiny, along with +1/+1 upgrades for his Roaches, so it will be Roach Infestor. Infestors will be very good against these Phoenix if they get the fungals off before the Phoenix gets the lifts off. As you saw in the last game, the lifts were used to great effect against the Infestors of Vibe. And we'll have to see if something similar is done for NonY here. This is a much earlier Fleet Beacon. He's actually getting the Phoenix range upgrade. You do not see that very often. So Destiny has indeed put the fool on and is really throwing NonY for a loop. If NonY knew that Destiny was no longer making those Mutalisks, he would not be getting this range upgrade. I can guarantee you that. But this is the first time I've really seen in a long time someone get that Fleet Beacon for the express purpose of getting that upgrade. +2 ground attack about to finish for NonY, and starting that Colossus range, and his first Colossus is about halfway done. The same transition we saw in the last game against Vibe, looking to use that Colossus to do some good damage against the Roach Infestor composition of his opponent. And one thing we saw in the last game we also don't see in this game was that Vibe stayed on Ling Infestor for a fairly long time too, when he switched over to it when the Roach decks kind of failed and he was unable to hold his 4th base when NonY moved across the map. Well, and with more Roaches this time, I think Destiny should hold a better chance of defending. Destiny didn't need to go for that 4th base before attacking, so he's in a bit better of a spot. This is a big Phoenix pack actually. NonY doing some good damage to these drones, and the Infestors see they come with great fungal. Mutas coming in and trying to do what they can. The fungals will continue to be chained. The Infested Terrans also going down. A lot of Mutalisks are going down, but frankly, Destiny is okay with that. Because right now they're just taking a bunch of supply he doesn't want to be used. Some Phoenix might even survive here. Need 3 get out with very, very low health, but that was a lot of Phoenix lost. And a lot of the map control that NonY had is now gone, and Destiny does take a supply lead in that engagement. Some good fungals. A lot of fungals did get used though, so they won't be there later in the game. And the Mothership is now on the way for NonY as well, being made here at this main Nexus. Using that Fleet Beacon for more than just a Phoenix upgrade, and double Robo. Looks like NonY didn't quite get his hotkeys right there, queuing up that second Colossus instead of making it in his robotics facility. And it looks like he's repaired that little issue, or I think he should get that out of the queue if he can. But not a huge deal. He's still got those 2 Colossus going at once, and 1 already out in the field. Moving out with this little... Oh, there's 2 out in the field already, but these Roaches are going to catch them very off guard. The 2 Colossus should go down immediately, and there they do indeed go down. The Roaches have great... this would be a great engagement for Destiny. Some good force fields saving the rest of his army, but most of the sentries are gone. And the remaining Phoenix do get fungled and taken out by the Infestors, and NonY is in a bit of a pickle now. Those Phoenix were a huge problem against Vibe for a lot of the game, and right now he just doesn't have any air units at all. Except for this 1 Void Ray, which will not be able to do much, if anything. Greater Spire on the way for Destiny already. Looking to get those Broodlords going as well. So we'll likely see that standard late-game army battle with the Mothership-based army for the Protoss player, and the Broodlord Infestor-based army for the Zerg player. Neural Parasite also almost done already, so using that to neural that Mothership if he can. Some good neurals can really change the game. It really depends who gets the Vortex off, whether it's the Protoss player where he wants to, or if he gets neuraled and a neural Vortex goes down on all the forces of the Protoss player. Corruptor's moving in, trying to deal some damage to these Colossus and defend these Roaches. Guardian Shield goes down and doing a lot of damage to these Roaches with the Colossus. So these Stalkers will do much better. This is a pretty good engagement for NonY. Destiny really shouldn't have committed to this. Some of the Colossus are even still alive. The Void Ray drawing aggro, and the Mothership comes in at just the right time, and a lot of these Corruptors will get picked off as well, and they will not be able to turn into Broodlords if they're dead. So that actually sucks a lot for the Zerg player. So I think that engagement went a bit in the favor of NonY. A lot of Roaches lost there for not a whole lot of economic damage. The unit counts are somewhat reset though. And a lot more Roaches on the way for Destiny, to be sure. But he's also now starting to move more for his Broodlords. He has 1 on the way, and none completed, if I'm correct. Yes, I am. Let's look at the worker count, though. 77 to 86. That's a ton of probes for Protoss. I don't even know if you want to have that many. 86 is about as high as I think you should go at all. Any more probes would be a big mistake, but NonY will have a raging economy, and if he can get some good trades, he will definitely be in a good spot, because Destiny does not have that many drones. He's below 80 right now, and that is not very many at all. Bunch of cannons going down to once again try to secure this 4th base for NonY. A couple of more hatcheries down for Destiny that I did not comment on. The 5th and 6th bases. Looking to really get that gas income for those hive-tech units and upgrades. For more Broodlords continuing to morph. 4 on the way with 1 already on the field. Looking to build that Death Ball army that Zerg can get with the Infestor Broodlord composition with some Corruptors mixed in to deal with the Mothership. And that Stalker Colossus Ball with Mothership building up for NonY. So we'll likely see some late game engagements come up here very soon as both players approach their max, or at least some workers being burned. Let's take a look at the upgrades very quick here. NonY only has +3 attack, only just now starting his +1 armor, whereas the Zerg player is starting his 3/3 attack and armor for his ground units, so he'll have great upgrades. The upgrade advantage will definitely be with Destiny for his ground units in this upcoming battle. I don't think he started his air upgrades quite yet. I don't think he has any at all. Nope. So those Broodlords are I'll upgrade the Broodlings will have attack bonus, but here's the first little engagement. Destiny trying a little multi-pronged thing here. These roaches up here at the front have free reign. They'll actually take up these pylons, which are powering some gateways, lowering that production, but that's not enough to really break through those gateways in time to do much of anything. But NonY does bring his entire army over to deal with this instead of splitting up really much at all. These roaches being traded for nothing really, just some sort of delayed production mostly. But they do have the burrow movement, and right now there's no overseers, observers to detect them. Is there an observer even out in the map? Yes, there is one, but only one will not help you too much against a bunch of burrowed units. He'll definitely look to get some more observers on the map, I would certainly think. Observer does come back, and the roaches are dealt with. And NonY will continue to expand, and he actually is taking this bottom right base, not looking to try to just win off of 4 bases, wants to have as many bases as he can and defend them. But he should look to do something with this army soon. I don't know, this would be a pretty big battle when it first happens. 7 Broodlords on the complete, 1 on the way for Destiny, still trying to build that big army. How many Infestors does he have? 8. He'll look to get a few more than that to really get that really effective Deathball army. This weird little hatchery here, I would call it the 6th base for Destiny, will go down. Not a tremendously important base, but any more than that he loses will be certainly consequential. That will have some effect in the game. He does not want to lose any gas income at this point. The creep spread is okay, not terrific. Being dealt with actually a bit by NonY. Try to limit that map vision that the Zerg player has. Both players are maxed. A lot of Broodlords here for Destiny. 16 minus 1, so he's got 15 and a bunch of investors. So a big army, and they're very, very liable to Vortex, but there's no Archons for the cross players, so it's not like he can get a bigger Archon Vortex, but he does Vortex about half of the Broodlords, I think. Come on, click. Yep, about half the Broodlords, and we'll circumvent that and try to pick off some more, but he blinks right into these, whatchamacallem, spine crawlers, but he will be able to deal with these, Broodlords right when they come out, and stalk shots going off on them. We'll take out 1, 2 Broodlords. Maybe a couple more. Another Vortex goes off. I don't know what actually got caught in that. Maybe some Infestors? About half the Infestors, I guess, but not too much again. But NonY will back off a bit, and I don't think anyone really came out too on top in that trade right there. Neither player losing a whole lot. These Vortexes aren't going to be entirely game-changing unless they have Archons in them. Destiny's still morphing more and more Broodlords to add to his significant count. Can't even find a Broodlord double click. There we go. He will be at less than his previous amount, and once again, here comes NonY moving in, picking off these morphing Broodlords actually, catching Destiny with his pants down, going after those Infestors with the Colossus. The Infestor count is actually pretty low, so an Infested Terran going out in some sort of last-ditch attempt, but the Infestor count is down to 6. That's not really enough for Destiny, and these roaches getting mauled on the ground by the Colossus, and I think a good blink in here from these Stalkers could do good work, but the Stalker count is actually very low as well. NonY forced to back off, both players. Oh, a lot of Stalkers, big Stalker reinforcement coming in. Trying to do, but there's so many Broodlords, I don't know if it's quite going to be enough, and in fact, a lot of the Stalkers are down. He needs to blink out of there and try to hold on to what he has. Supply disadvantage, that little last bit of the battle definitely went for Destiny. NonY was a bit over-eager in making that engagement happen. And NonY will back off. Couple big warpins. He has a bunch of gateways. That was like, I don't know how many Stalkers that was at once. I don't really want to go gateway counting, but let's just suffice it to say he's a lot of gateways. He's gonna make a lot of Stalkers at once. A few roaches being traded away. Really kind of useless supply. You really just want Infestors and Broodlords at this point on the Zerg side of things. But NonY's really got a great economy. He's got gas here and a ton of cannons at this 5th base. This 4th base is mining well. His 2nd base still also has minerals, being lightly mined from. 3rd base is the same story there. Whereas Zerg has a bunch of minerals. Destiny should probably relocate these drones to perhaps this base, and you may want to rebuild this 6th base as well in anticipation of this economy loss. The Mothership was actually lost for NonY. He's remaking that. Will not want to start any engagements without that unit. Very important, even if only to force Overseers into the battle. Make your Zerg opponent spend gas on that and not on Broodlord Infestor. But Destiny's have a lot of Broodlords, 6 Broodlords on the way to the 16 that are already on the map. That'll be 22. That is a significant amount of Broodlords and a lot of supply. A couple of Infestors getting picked off for free. Destiny did not want that to happen. And some Broodlords. Here's another engagement. A Blink Gunner going for the Broodlords. 1 Broodlord down, 2 Broodlords down. Gonna need to get some more though. He's gonna lose all these Stalkers otherwise. He's Broodlord's doing huge damage to the Stalkers. Colossi doing what they can to negate the Broodlings after with their first initial hits. But that is a lot of Broodlings moving in. Once again, I think this engagement is once again going in Destiny's favor. One Fungal to actually hold these Colossus plays would be great, but Broodlings, even regardless, doing some good damage. Really lowering that supply to NonY, down by 40 supply is he now, and this 4th base will now be under siege from these Broodlords. There's not a whole lot that NonY can do about it. Once more, these Stalkers move in, doing what they can, but without Archons, without some sort of Archon toilet or maybe some sort of air transition, I just don't see NonY be able to do a whole lot against this. Pure Stalker will not work against Infestor Broodlord. The Broodlords do a ton of damage as is, with the Stalkers holding them in place, you can't even get at the Broodlords with the Stalkers, even with Blink. This 4th base is all but forfeit now, and the Nexus will indeed go down. That was an important base. He needed that income very much. The 5th base is still a saving grace from action. Does Destiny even know about that base? He does not. Destiny has no idea about that bottom right base. But these Broodlords still doing some great damage against these Stalkers. The Broodlord count is down to 10. So a number actually were taken out, but actually NonY's in great shape, in much better shape than I would have thought. And these Warpins bring him to 180 supply against Destiny. Destiny's 185. Destiny now getting those upgrades going, +2 melee attack for Broodlings and Zerglings, and +2 attack for the Broodlord attack and Corruptor attack. Good little Roach run-by attempt here, taking out some probes and denying mining down here. Smart little move by Destiny, just trading some of those Roaches for workers and denied mining. Always a good move to use Roaches for something at this point in the game. And Destiny's actually, he has a really significant bank, but he's not doing a whole lot with it, despite what his supply is at. He's at 1.5k, 2k right about now, and he still has 30 supply to make up. Does he have the... There we go, 9 Broodlords on the way, that's what he's looking to do. And he's looking to build that Death Ball back up again. The Nexus at the 4th being rebuilt for NonY. Looking to once again reestablish that economy. Some Spine Crawlers down here at the 6th base for Destiny, looking to hold on to that this time as opposed to the last attempt, which was denied. Some Burrowed Roaches being a pain in the ass over here in the bottom right. Mothership is now complete again. That cannon's going to ruin those Roaches' days immediately. Nice little cannon there, and a couple more Roaches. Oh, Changelings, never mind, are going to come in and try to scout and see what is up. NonY still has a 20 supply advantage despite that big Broodlord morph, and he actually has a Templar Archives about 3/4 of the way done, looking to maybe make some Archons, get those into those vortexes and do some big damage, or maybe go for Storm. Storm is also very good on the Clumped Broodlord Corruptor combos. Also, some feedbacks on the Infestors would be great as well. We're going to see maybe a Blink under here. Not quite. Some Infested Terran going out for reasons that don't really make sense at all to me. Stalkers actually catching these Broodlords somewhat out of position and doing some decent damage. Some good Funkles do go down, holding them in place though. Infested Terran Broodlord Broodling doing some good damage to the Stalkers as well, but there's still a lot of Stalkers left. And a Vortex does go down, securing some Broodlords I think, but not a whole lot. Yeah, still 17 out of the Vortex. He needs to be careful with his unit movement or else he will find himself in that Vortex. We do now have the aforementioned Archons now morphing in for NonY, making 5 right now. This next Vortex, this is where we might keep that Mothership alive, so we'll be able to do some good damage. Stalkers picking up some Broodlords and doing a pretty good job of it. Trading Stalkers and Broodlords is pretty good, and especially going to blink out and get away with some of them. Even these Colossi at very low health, but still making it out, and they'll still be able to provide some DPS. And the Archon Ball is now making, and Destiny will see this soon and know he has to be very careful about when he gets Vortex and everything. The Mothership is still out on the map for NonY. Where is that thing? Mothership, where are you? I don't know where you are. Anyway, some good damage going down. The Broodlord's trying to move in again. There's no Infestors here. These Stalkers are going to make very quick work. And where did they... Oh, that is something indeed. Okay, we have this constantly knurled Mothership, and he actually mass recalled the Broodlords with his knurled Mothership. That is a first. I am baffled by I talked about Destiny doing some weird shit at the beginning of this game, but he has certainly made it worthwhile. I mean, certainly made my comment worth its while right there. Throwing some Infested Terran to try and block out this Protoss army. That is a lot of Stalkers and Archons doing what they can and dealing with these Infested Terran. The Colossi melt those Infested Terran very quickly. Archons doing what they can, but they're taking a bunch of damage from these Infested Terrans, and the Archon count is down to 1 right here at the front. NonY forced to back off again, and he finds himself in a big supply disadvantage. Losing the mothership was a huge loss. He needed that for the Archon toilet, and also the Master Recall saving those Broodlords was huge. And Destiny's unorthodox play might get him a pretty good win right here if he's able to pull through. But looks like NonY's actually starting to stabilize. Destiny losing a lot of supply right there, making more Broodlords again, and it looks like it's bounced back and forth. These guys have been trading back and forth very evenly in a very, very interesting game. Very interesting late game. This is not one of those like one Archon toilet decided games that people have been complaining about for some time. This is a very compelling late game ZVP. Bunch more Broodlords now morphing in, and boom, they're finishing. We have 9 Broodlords, which is very instant compared to like the 26 we had earlier in the game. But Destiny's on like he has a pretty big bank still, and he's like gonna be able to just make Broodlords pretty much as often as he wants for a while. A bunch of Corruptors as well. NonY's gonna want to have another mothership out unless he already has one. He does not, and he's down to 64 probes. But actually, Zerg has even fewer workers than that. But great work being done on these Colossi, taking them out. The blink forward from the Stalkers again, getting as many Broodlords as he can before being held back by the Fungals. Man, all this late game battle action is making my throat hurt trying to commentate all of this. We do have an attack here at the 5th base as well. These roaches do break down the cannons, and should look to do some economic damage as well. Can have to pull back and try to deal with this army and defend the space, which gives Destiny an opportunity to move in, try to get this position above the 4th base of NonY, where he will definitely look to do some damage very soon. And those roaches once again burrowed behind the base, and here's the engagement again. Broodlords are doing pretty good damage. A bunch of Stalkers going down. The Colossus should fall as well. And this actually might be the end of NonY right here. He's put up a great fight, and there's the GG. That was an intense game. Very back and forth late game. Both players are basically allowed to get to where they wanted to, unlike in the game with NonY and Vibe, where Vibe kind of just went for the aggressive edge early on and did not do damage, and therefore fell very behind. Both Destiny and NonY were able to get to that late game composition that they wanted, but frankly, it was not enough from NonY. He probably should have gone to those Archons earlier, about the time maybe he got the mothership, because while Vortex is good in any situation to try and divide armies up, it is a game changer if you get some Archons in there. And that neural of the mothership that Destiny did actually probably won him that game. Saved his Broodlords, allowed him to get those Broodlords back and save a bunch of army and a bunch of money that he would not have had in his bank later. And it was just an amazing play to use. We've seen neural Vortex. I have not seen a neural recall ever in a game I've at least casted, or I think even watched. It was some very interesting play. Some good multi-pronged roach aggression as well, trading roaches for income, which is a great move. You could always want to do that late game as Zerg versus Protoss. And there was no harass from NonY. It was basically straight up attacks and just straight up engagements and no harass. We didn't see any warp prisms looking to go attack maybe at this base or at this base. This base should not have been allowed to mine as easily as it did. I know there are 4 spines here, but you could have at least tried something. It was very out of position to deal with this, which is a pain for someone a mobile army using a mothership. But you just can't let the Zerg economy go unchecked. And that's what happened, and the Broodlord Infestor composition eventually won out over the Stalker Colossus Mothership composition. And that's your game. And thank you for watching. I think this will be my last cast of the night. So I did 3 tonight, and I probably will put them all up. I haven't really decided that for sure. Depends how much editing I want to do. But thank you very much for watching, and I will see you sometime later.